standing room only for our first show. Thank you all for coming. It's great to see you. It really is. I guess the first order of business, I'm your MC. My name is Susan Gordon. And the first order of business is the toilets, so through there. As far as the exit is concerned, I only see the balcony, so you'll have to jump off the balcony, I suppose. Also, just before we start, if anybody has a cell phone, please turn it off. Or if you have a special relationship with it, you can just put it on vibrate and stick it anywhere. But nobody here really wants to hear it. Okay. As far as hearing is concerned, I just thought I better sort of say it right up front. This is a comedy show, and anybody who is offended by sort of rude language, well, you can fuck off right now. So is anybody gone? Or going? Okay, well, this show is called Still Standing. And somebody asked me just a moment ago, why is it called Still Standing? And at least from my perspective, I'm old. I didn't start off that way, but sort of crept up on me, you know, a day at a time, a minute, an hour. And I'm still standing. And the other two women, Wellington comedy divas they are also still standing. So that's the name of the show. I came to New Zealand in 1974. And I am convinced that the New Zealand government sent out some of the most attractive men they could find to the four corners of the world to attract gorgeous chicks like me.
Oh, yeah!
That's right.
That's
To
right.
bury the gene pool. And, well, put it this way. I'm a real estate agent. And so now you won't believe anything that I say. I know that. But I won't believe anything you say to me either. That's kind of the way it goes in my world. That's how I roll. It's kind of weird because people always ask me questions, but they never believe the answers. So we could go just to the end of the exercise and they could shut the fuck up. So they send all these gorgeous hunks of man flesh to the far corners of the world. And, you know, I was sucked in, I've got to say. I've been sucked in, or sucked on, for 40 years now. In any case, when I got to New Zealand, you know, you talk about truth. When I got to Wellington, instead of the Polynesian paradise with the warm breezes and the beautiful palm trees, I got off the plane and I was assaulted. I was pummeled. I was thrust at by horizontal rain, which I had never seen before in my life. Never before. And it just pelted. It was just terrible, as we know. And I said, we finally got back to the flat, and I said, oh, could we turn up the heat? And I was told, heat? It doesn't get cold here. You don't need heat. Well, why am I freezing my ass off if I don't need heat? Is that some kind of, I don't know, other universe I'm living in? But in any case, you know, it's down the track. I'm used to the place. I kind of love it. I certainly wouldn't go back to New York where I was raped, raw, held at gunpoint, knife point. It got so bad that I looked in the refrigerator when I would come home to see if anyone was hiding there. And yeah, you never know. You never know. Could be a real cool dude. Anyway, so I don't want to go back there, that's for sure. But the last guy who pulled a knife on me, I snapped. And I said, oh no, not again. not again. And he looked at me and he ran away from me. So that's how crazy I got. In any case, it's not about me, although really it is. But it's not about me, it's about you and having a good time. And tonight, for your the first performer, who is, well, she tells me anyway that I haven't checked, that she is an anatomically correct drag queen. She's a woman of many, many personalities, and you know, it's not Sybil. I mean, I don't know how many Sybil had, 1355, I don't know. But in any case, some people know her as that crazy bitch behind the counter at Maid on Marion, which is truly it is a fantastic craft shop. I would say it's probably the best Wellington has, and I'm sure that she would love for you to stop by. And she's also known as Constance Comment in the burlesque world. And now where is my warm-up song, please? I guess he's gone. I was going to teach, here we go. Now just to warm up, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I was going to teach you how to do the hand job. Right. And let's get that a little bit louder, please. A little bit louder. Woo! Woo! Come on. Woo! You can see it doesn't matter how you do it. And you don't have to get up. All right, now let's put it together. Let's get a round of applause for Mary and Catherine and
Hi. Hi. You can see me and I can't see you. I've got lights in my eyes. And so I have to confess that, I am Marianne Cathro. I do have an alter ego who's an anatomically correct drag queen called Constance Craving. I do perform in burlesque shows. I do not take off my clothes. I sing. Just to be clear, some of my mother's friends got wind of this thing and they thought I was going to strip. I thought, oh my God. It's just terrifying. The therapy bills, the suits, the lawsuits, it would be terrible. So, you know, here I stand before you and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, now this woman has eaten all the pies. It's true, it's true. I've eaten many, many pies and chocolate and ice cream and it was great, but don't you dare judge me because there's a plan. There's a plan, you see. We live in a world where you can donate blood to a blood bank, you can donate sperm to a sperm bank, you can even these days donate breast milk to a breast milk bank. So I'm figuring that at some point someone will come up with the technology that you can deposit fat into an adipose bank. And I am preparing for that day because I personally am going to save the lives of 20 supermodels. So if you're kind of like a person who throws up all the pies and you might want to talk to me about, you like me and you think you might like my fat, well just talk to me about it, okay? So good, so yeah. And the other thing that I feel I should say about myself is I'm going to be 50 in a couple of months. I know! I didn't look at, do I? It's amazing! I know! I don't dye my hair, but I do wear makeup. And like, top tip, by applause, who's 50 or over here tonight? Right, so some of those voices were female. So I'm going to give you a top tip, ladies. 24 hours stay makeup. Oh my God, it's fantastic. It actually stays put. You don't end up looking like something that Dali and Picasso came up with after a night on the whiskey. It really does work. And especially the lipstick. You know, the lipstick stays put. And you guys, you're over 40, know what I'm talking about. It doesn't get up into those little lines and start creeping until you look like Heath Ledger playing the Joker in Batman movie. Oh, terrifying. So face stays put, it's all good. So what else? So I'm married, and I'm married to David. This is my husband, David. And he has on his knees a bloody great big cheat sheet because I swear to God, I have clinically diagnosed as having Kraft's disease, which is an acronym for can't remember a fucking thing. And I am a Cathro like my husband. Now, we got married in spite of our advanced years. We actually only got married in 2003, so a lot of women these days, they don't choose to take their husband's name. But when you realise that my maiden name was Hughes, and you spell that with a G, and I used to teach primary school, and when you read it on the page it looks like Hughes. So all the pies and a surname that sounds like Hughes, I couldn't wait to get rid of it. But the best part about being Marianne Cathro is you listen to Marianne Cathro. Now what does that name evoke? To me it was like, this woman is going to write bodice rippers. Like it's the Rampant Duke by Marianne Cathro, the Barmaid's Bosoms by Marianne Cathro. It's great, it's like Cathro Cookson. So yeah, I can take this one. And when we got married in 2003, it was actually really lovely. David's got 4 children, so I have many stepchildren, and they were all involved in the ceremony. And the littlest one was 4. That's Amelia. And she was this cute, she was a little flower fairy, and she was so cute. And she had a really great time at the reception. And when we left, because you know, that's how you roll when you get married in your late 30s, we left to go home in our just married car with 2 kids in the back seat and booster seats. And they fell asleep, and we got home, and I had this full-on frock, like massive velvet thing, because it was winter in Christchurch. And I somehow managed to carry her upstairs with the dress and not trip over myself. And I put her to bed. Now, I didn't try to take that dress off her because I was a kid once, I know how that works. Shoes and hair, yes, but don't push it any further than that. So she went to sleep in all her palaver. But she sort of woke up and she looked up at me, and I had my hair flowers and I had my dress on. And she reached up and she said, "Are you going to sleep in your dress too?" It's so cute. Because the funny thing is, I didn't explain to her, is that if my best friend hadn't been there to undo all those buttons, I probably would have had to. Anyway, she's 15 now, so she's vile. I'll tell you a whole lot of stories about that, but we won't go there. So, David and I, this is very confessional, people. David and I actually met on the internet. On an internet dating site in 2001. When if you met somebody on the internet from a different city, in 2001, your mother immediately assumed he was an ex-murderer. So it was quite exciting. He's not actually an ex-murderer. We owned exes, and he hasn't tried to murder any of them. But you know, life is really, it was actually quite sweet back in 2001. There were a few rampant kind of crazies on the scene, but I think it's turned into a bit of a wild west with the Tinder thing and the crime thing. And I just wanted to give anyone, is there anyone here who, oh no, you're not going to admit it anyway, are you? Who's internet dating or is internet? Yeah. No. Am I married? No. I am. Okay, so and like, don't admit it. You don't have to admit it. So let's assume that this advice, but it's free advice, and you know, you get what you pay for with advice. If you're a woman, you don't need any advice because your profile on your dating site it'll be grammatically correct, it'll be spelled correctly, the photograph that you put on it will be considered, probably auditioned from 200 photographs, possibly you went and got professional, glamour ones done especially. If you're a guy, you'll put a name on it, you might put your height on it, and in many cases, the only picture they put on there, if it's not a really bad candid one that someone took at a party when they were is a picture of their I can't even say the word. Rampant. A rampant one. And besides the fact that one never really knows if the one that one is looking at is actually belongs to the person whose profile it is. Guys, we don't care. You know, the male appendage is a triumph of a disaster, the exact opposite of form over function. It's something that we want to play with, but we really don't want to look at, because at the end of the day, they all do the same thing. So we don't care. We're not impressed. Really, if you want to catch the ladies, I suggest that you get an animated GIF of this. Trust me. Enough of that. Going to lift it up, sweetie, it's getting hard to read. Okay. This is brilliant. I wish I thought of this ages ago. Okay, so so we're married, and you know, we're really busy. We own a business, and we work 6 days a week, so we don't get much downtime. But every now and then, we manage to grab ourselves a date night. And the last date night we had, we went to see The Hobbit. The 5 battles of the 5 armies, or whatever it is. Yeah, and I was expecting it to be pretty crap, because lots of people said it's not very good. And I'm really pleased, because I thought it was pretty good. You know, because it wasn't over, you know, and I really enjoyed it. Absolutely no idea what was going on. And who's seen it? By applause. Who saw the movie? Can someone please tell me why Lucius Malfoy from Harry Potter was riding a moose in the middle of the battle? Because I'm completely confused. This is some kind of crossover deal. But then David tells me that it wasn't Lucius Malfoy, it was Legolas' dad. Legolas' dad called, what's his name?
Thrundle.
Thrundle.
Something like that.
Thrundle. Okay. You see, he's so good because he remembers the names of all of the characters in the Tolkien stories. Doesn't know any of my friends' names. Kind of handy. But the reason we were actually, confessions, we really needed to see the movie was we were in Martinborough and it was like 30 degrees. And we knew there would be air conditioning in the theatre. Because it's been really hot. Really hot. And you know, the thing is that what amazes me about people is the minute the weather starts to get fine, they start dragging out their barbecues and cooking outside. Now this completely mystifies me. Most of the people I know have a kitchen in their house that costs between $60,000 and $100,000. And yet, they leave this beautiful room that was custom built, that civilization has gifted us the right to have in our house, that technology makes superior to any other form of cooking, and they take it outside where the flies are, and I don't get it. And I put this to a woman many years ago at a barbecue, and she said, oh, I love it. It saves the kitchen. And I'm like, lady, what are you saving your kitchen for? Are you going to have a meth lab in there? Are you going to get like a homestay student living in there with like a mattress on the bench and, oh, look at all the storage space you've got for your crap? Actually, being Wellington, most people probably want to set up a craft brewery in their kitchen. It's the money. But it's not just been hot, it's been weird. Because in Brisbane, there's been this cyclone Marsha. Is that right, Marsha? It's been pretty grim. I've got friends in Queensland, and it's really serious. I don't mean to mock the fact that they're having this cyclone, but I can't get the image of this 50-foot high drag queen called Cyclone Marsha out of my head. And she's stomping with these really big heels through the place and trashing it. And I thought, the power of a name. Like, you know, me changing my name. Names are really important. So here's another piece of advice. I know many of you are probably grandparents or hoping you're going to be grandparents, and some of you may have parents who are hoping that you'll make them into grandparents, and some of you may not have got to that stage, but anyone here who might have a say in the naming of a child, please, please, I beg of you, do not do this. I was in Melbourne Airport once, and I heard this very strident Australian female going, Keanu, Keanu, where are you? And there was this little 3-year-old running through the airport, and this woman was going, Keanu, come over here, Keanu. And I thought, poor little kid. He's named after an actor, not a very good one. It has to be said, not a very good one. And he can never be an actor because there can be only one counted. What is he going to be when he grows up? And it's even worse for girls. I mean, if your mum calls you Harissa Jade, what are you going to be when you grow up? That is not the name that a Prime Minister is going to have. You know, and in our house, in our family, the rule is Prime Minister name. You think, I'm so middle class, would this name, would the kid be able to be Prime Minister? And so, because really, let's face it guys, names like Harissa Jade are strippers' names, aren't they? Strippers and porn stars. And that's pretty much what you destine a child to be. And I'm allowed to say this because I'm a hut girl. And under Comedy Rule 101, which is you're allowed to be rude about your own kind. Yeah. And but you see, it also, it's all about predestination because it doesn't work the other way around. You are never going to go into a strip club and the MC is never going to say, and now, ladies and gentlemen, for your titillation and excitement, presenting Miss Joan Brown. It's just not going to happen. So, you know, do your kids a favour and give them names that they can be Prime Minister for, or President of the United States, because clearly there it's a whole different world. I'm not approving of this, by the way, I'm just saying how it is. So, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, but I feel that I have to go into the whole ageing thing a bit more because we are still standing, and we have a combined age of, I don't know, 160 something maybe? And I'm the baby of the group. But you know, it's really tough being a woman these days in her 40s and 50s and 60s, and some of our most famous celebrities are the ones I feel the most sorry for because they're in the public eye all the time, and how they look is important to them, and they think it's important to other people. And it's really tough because there's the younger ones coming up from underneath. So rather than talk about it, I have a musical tribute to the lovely Madonna, who is 56 this year. So she's definitely still standing. Go Match! Take it away if you don't. Running around in a bikini and high heels, it doesn't impress me at all, because I did it all before you. Don't copy me, Lady Gaga. The truth is, I still outclass you. I'm twice your age now. You have my talent, go do the math now, it's self-apparent. And as for your fortune, and as for your fame, I think you must be really quite dim if you think what you're doing is subversive and cool. It's all familiar. You're not the revolutionary you promised to be, 'cause I did that stuff all along. And Kate Bush did it all before me. just remember, I did it first and I did it better. Have I said too much? I think there's nothing more I can think of to sing to. And anyway, in 6 months' time, we'll probably find you've gone and copied this 1, 2. Born this way, and born this way. Stupid bloody song. Don't give a second best, baby. Put your love to the test. Now that is a proper song. Don't copy me, Lady Gaga. Wah! Thank you. And that's me. Because everybody's time, I'm going to get you through them. Here we go.
I'm the hand job girl. Now let's just put our hands together one more time because that was just fantastic. Interesting about a name. I would just add one more thing to what Marianne said. And Marianne, I must apologize. I called you Constant Comment, which is a tea bag, isn't it? That's your Constant Comment. So I apologize for that. I think when you name your children, make sure that their initials don't spell like dog or pig or something like that, because you just never get over that. And in my neighborhood, they beat the shit out of you. So you definitely don't want to do that. Now, who here is happy with this summer? All right. I've been here since 1974. I believe this is the first summer I've ever experienced. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but man, it's been good. And one of the things I am now advocating is that we should all be burning coal, using as much oil as possible, getting that Freon back into our fridges, because fuck the ozone layer. I do not want my suntan to turn into a windburn again. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think I look absolutely gorgeous. I'm tan and beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. There's my fan club. I'll pay you later. Now, we have the next comedy diva that I'm going to introduce you to is somebody who's been in the comedy scene in Wellington for 15 years. She is a very talented lady. She's also a storyteller, and she's involved one of the founders of the Storytellers Cafe, which, by the way, is a pretty fantastic organization. Meets the first Tuesday of every month.
Right.
And she also teaches stand-up. She's the person that I went to when I wanted to learn what to do. And you can, actually, maybe she'll be very angry because I told you, because you'll think, oh God, that's what she's teaching. This is a product, forget it. But she's just a wonderful woman. Her name is Caroline Welkin. And let's put our hands together and welcome Caroline Welkin.
Like to hang out with a mic. Reminds me of my husband. Actually, I've been reading studies, and we're lucky really, because apparently people with my kind of personality, we either end up being stand-up comedians or serial killers. Yeah, I've got the gun license application in just in case. I've told my husband I'm prepping in case there's a zombie apocalypse. It seems to satisfy him about the maniacal laughing at the end of the hallway. Yes, I switched husbands halfway through life. Anyone else here done that? Yeah, the first one looked good. He was a farmer, he had a huge penis, couldn't read the instructions. He was I should have known there was something wrong though when I gave birth and he picked the child up by the ankles and did this. So yeah, I upgraded from a farmer to a scientist, because this one can read a manual. Yeah, and he also knows how to run an experiment or two. I keep volunteering to be the control. Gets out of control anyway. He's a good guy. We went on holiday last year. We went to the UK, you know, back to see the folks and the friends. And I forget, because we had these big gaps between holidays there, about how stoic the English are, the level of understatement. And we're 20 minutes into our holiday in the car, travelling down the M4, been picked up at the airport, and I'm doing that kind of jet-lag drawl thing in the back. Bang! The window shattered. My head ricocheted across the car. I'm picking glass out of my hair, my clothing, and my crotch. And my husband turns back and goes, "All right." And I went, "Yeah." And his sister said, "Good," and carried on driving. We just stiffened our upper lips and carried right on. We did have a great holiday though. People go out of their way, don't they? I know we all do it too, to give you a great time when you turn up. And at the end of one fantastic day trip back in my hometown, my friend said, "Is there anything you haven't done that you really want to do today?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'd like to go to the Royal Sea Bathing Hospital." "Okay," they said, "Royal Sea Bathing Hospital, it is." Drove up there and we got there, they said, "You can't go in anymore. It's not a hospital now." I said, "Oh yeah, it wasn't a hospital." They said, "No, it's a gated community now with rich people living there and sea views, and it's all been done up into fancy apartments. Why did you want to come here?" And I said, "Oh, this used to be the VD clinic." You see that yuppie couple sitting there having their nouvelle cuisine dinner? I used to hang out there on Mondays between 10 and 12 in a chair with stirrups. It makes me fairly happy to think about that. You know, fairly happy, it's kind of a place I've got to in my life now. Fairly happy, how can I describe it to you? It's like sometimes I'll get halfway through a crossword, because that's what I can do, and I'm fairly happy. And then I realise that's like a metaphor for life. And I have to go and eat a lot of chocolate to get over it. So yeah, I was fairly happy that coming back from the UK we decided to do a stopover in LA, because it's a long journey, right? Now I might watch a little bit too much conspiracy theory on the old YouTube. Actually, studies recently showed that people who do look into a lot of conspiracy theory are more depressed than the rest of you. Surprise! And actually I want to know who decided that. Anyway, we're in LA, and in the cabs, we're getting cabs everywhere because I'm nervous to walk on the streets, right? And in each cab there's a little TV there. And I'm like, what's this? Too quiet to actually hear what's being said. I'm thinking, is this subliminal messages? Are they hypnotising me? Am I watching them? Are they watching me? I don't know what the TV is for. And I begin to miss the cabbies that talk. Do you know the old school cabbies? Yeah, gotta watch out what you wish for, eh? Because then we got the cabbie that talked. Oh yeah, it was the last cab ride, the one out to LAX airport. And the guy turned off the little TV. And he told us, I have lived here now 30 years in America, and I tell you what is happening to the American dollar is devalue. The middle classes are no longer middle classes, they are lower classes now. They take their lunch in a brown bag. The whole of society is just nasty what is going on here. So lonely to live in the city. Me, I used to be airline pilot, and now I can't pay the $30,000. I can't get my license. I'm driving this shitty cab. And I tell you something else, all that crap they tell you about security at the airport, you see that? We just go past that sign to LA airport. We don't go down there for cabbies, we know it's bullshit. We see those guys standing around in their uniforms chatting, oh yes, just pretending to stop the terrorists coming in. Every cabbie in this city, I can tell you, will take this exit. And I know I could go into LA airport, plant the bomb, be 10 minutes away from bomb. The whole thing blows up. Anyway, have a nice flight and goodbye from American American citizen. And I stood there and I clutched at my husband and I said, let's never, ever look for cheap flights on 9/11 ever again. So I was pretty pleased to get home, I tell you. Just, you know, the mundanities, teaching computer applications, all that kind of thing that I do to get my bread and butter. And, you know, there's one person here in this room I know is going to get this joke. They press F8. That's an office joke. They press F8. You see nothing, not titter. Then Windows 8 came in. Now you know about F8, don't you? Yeah. So anyway, in between jobs, I'm hanging out in cafes. And I start collecting first world cafe problems. You know, the big issues like, do I want a hazelnut affogato? Or do I want a gelato with my macchiato? I mean, the questions they ask you, those questions when you buy a little snack. Would you like cream or yogurt? Yogurt. I love the way we say that. Yogurt. Would you like cream or yogurt or fat? Cream's the right answer, by the way. Good fats are in. Sugars are out. Actually, it's the hipster equivalent, that question, I reckon, of the old-fashioned, do you want jam or butter with your bread, and you'll be bloody grateful. Not grateful, obviously, you're a hipster. Maybe ironic. Ironic might work with your scone. What do you think? Although it's hard to be ironic with a scone. Although I may just have managed that. And for a hipster, even harder to be ironic once you've got cream in your moustache. Then there's that other question. Would you like it hot or cold? Oh, a bit of both actually. Could you microwave it for me? And then I'll have it with an increased chance of Campylobacter. 40 years they've been trying to get the hang of microwaving, eh? I don't know. So, yeah, cafe culture. It's interesting, isn't it? Whatever happened, my friends, I know some of you will remember this, to a savoury and a cup of tea. I know it tasted like shit, but everyone could pronounce it. Now you go looking for a good fat, what is that, like a pesto around a friand? I don't know. Then there's that question that always gets me. Excuse me, is that seat free? Well, now that depends on your perspective, doesn't it? You see, if you believe that this is the universe, there's nothing impinging on our sense of reality, that we're not having information broadcast to us from the moon to give us an illusion of anything else, or if you believe, as I do, that actually we're in a whole bunch of multiverses banging up against each other like bubbles, winking in and out of existence. At any one time, I might be here, you might be there, we might not be here, coffee might not have been invented, we might know each other, we might not know each other. It's really hard to tell. I actually can't tell. And then you add into that the construct that just by paying attention to the chair, because you are creating your own reality. I'm sorry, I can't answer your question. I'll get it to go, eh? So yeah, and all the milks, eh? Full fat, half fat, medium fat. I don't know, it reminded me actually of back in the 70s. I started a diet. It was a great diet. It was called the milk round diet. Anyone here remember milk vans?
Yes.
What? Hooray! So you will verify for me that the milk van was a very slower than a golf cart machine that went around the towns and delivered milk and various other items. So there were two rules in my milk round diet. One was early morning exercise, and the other one was you could eat anything you liked, providing it came off a doorstep. So you get up at 5:30 in the morning, you jog to the next neighbourhood, and there you could take anything you like, providing you left some behind. So if there was 12 pints of milk, you took one, you left 11 pints of milk. If there was 6 loaves of bread, you could take one and leave 5 loaves of bread. So basically I was living on a diet of milk, bread, eggs, and occasionally yogurt. Even back then we had yogurt. Very nice. So now, I'm afraid it was a short-lived diet. because actually it caught on amongst my unemployed friends. And they had to lay on an extra police patrol because the milk crate, the milk van, couldn't go fast enough to chase us. Even now, with my bung hip and the fact that I've worn the wrong shoes this evening, I could outrun a milk van. So yeah, they had to put on an extra police car just for us. And we knew things were going wrong the day we all got together at 9 o'clock in the morning and shared what we'd had for breakfast. Because you see, at number 63, the boulevard, that day, well, my friend who got there at 5 found 24 pints of milk, 12 loaves of bread, and 6 dozen eggs. By the time I got there at 6:30, there were 6 pints of milk, 2 loaves of bread, and 3 dozen eggs. My friends, if you were brought up on soda pop and Pop-Tarts, it's my fault. Because the year after, they stopped milk deliveries. And in actual fact, we were the thin end of the wedge. You know the wedge? The one that's brought in CCTV, drones, Google cameras. That's our fault, that global mass surveillance. And all I can say, my friends, tonight is, I'm sorry. Really sorry. Now people say to me sometimes, how did it happen? What made you get on the stage? So I'm going to tell you a little story about that. There was one specific moment that got me out on the stage. I was living in Britain at the time, and I'd been walking around for a year with this book called How to Do Stand-Up in my bag. And I would love to tell you that I opened that book and I worked through from one end to the other, and then I got up on stage and did some stand-up. But no, it wasn't like that at all. What I did was carry the book round until it was falling to pieces, and then I opened the book up. And oh yeah, done that, yeah, done that, done that. Oh look, I've even done the bit where you organise a gig and run away. Done that. So I still had to organise going and getting a really good gig. Now at the time, my son was coming over to visit me. You see, I'd left Palmerston North. I didn't do comedy in Palmerston North, there wasn't a lot there. I'd left Palmerston North. I'd left my husband. I'd left the dog. I'd left the cat. I'd left the sun, and I think I may have left the goldfish. And there I was in Britain, and I wasn't feeling like the cool parent, you know, because it was the farmer he was staying with. The farmer with the quad bike and the tractor and the wide open spaces and the places to go cycling. And then he was going to see me in a dingy little flat in London. But I did my best, you know. I got a car, not any kind of car, the kind of car that you get when your landlady wants to go overseas and can't pay her phone bill. I swapped paying her phone bill for my car. And it was called Eeyore. Well, that's the name we gave it. Mainly because, you know, it really didn't like to go from anywhere at all to anywhere else.